Hey, have you ever made such a big mistake that gaming news articles report on it and it becomes the default answer on Google search results and other YouTubers start quoting it and your childhood hero cites it as information in a video the one time he notices you? Whew. Oh, just me? Yeah. Yeah. So in 2021, I made a video about the true height of Link, which we found out was exactly 5'2". Except it wasn't. The first people to notice my mistake were a couple of YouTube comments, followed by the Reddit community, and I even acknowledged them at the time, congratulating them on catching my bad math. But I never intended on going back to do another video because I thought it was just a silly little fun video, which no one would take seriously. And then everybody took it seriously. Eventually, in 2023, the Zelda YouTuber Pixel Fusion confronted me about this height discrepancy. So we put our heads together and redid all the math from scratch. Here is what went wrong. In my original video, I figured out that these boxes in the shrines are exactly 2 meters tall. So I stood Link next to one of those boxes, I got his pixel measurements and compared them to the box, and deduced that he was 5'2" tall. Which makes sense because, notoriously, Link is a short king. But unfortunately, that's where I went wrong. According to Kargarok386, who was the very first person to notice this mistake in the YouTube comments, quote, "Do you know how objects further away appear smaller than objects closer? That applies to the sides of the box. To fix this, you need to make Link stand exactly where the edge of the box is, not in the center of the box." Because of this mistake, which he explained, I accidentally made Link shorter than he actually was. To make the height comparison accurate, Link needs to stand with his head flush to the block edge. That way he is the same distance away from the camera as the edge of the block. Thus, we must return to the scene of the crime and do the math all over again. But this time, we'll do it in Tears of the Kingdom, because his height is still the same in both games, and we don't need to use any hacks or mods to determine the height of the blocks this time, like we did in Breath of the Wild. We also are going to be donning the Radiant Mask again, in order to measure Link's height without his hair getting in the way. And with that, we're done setting up. All we need to do now is measure the pixels on the edge of the block and the pixels from the top of Link's head to Link's feet. Or more accurately, from the location directly between Link's 2 feet. By dividing these two numbers and then multiplying it by 2 meters, we figure out that Link's true height is 171 centimeters or 5 feet 7.3 inches tall, which is only 1 inch different from the measurement found by the theorists on Reddit, namely Skeets523 and Adrian here to help. Except it's not. Post-production bread here. Okay, so I felt weird about not doing more trials to get Link's height. No good scientist can just measure things once and then accept the results. So I went to do more of these measurements and well, just look at the results on this. When I remeasured his height, I got heights ranging from 5'7" to 5'9" inches tall. What am I supposed to say? Link's true height is somewhere between 5'6" inches and 5'9" inches tall. I also tried a method where Link stands alongside the block instead of facing it, and I tried a method where I made a stand that was the exact same height as Link and placed it against the block to see how tall Link would be without actually having him stand next to the block. That way I could hopefully get a more accurate measurement, but I could not find anything that would give me the same result every time.
Well, we have to come to a compromise at some point. We're not gonna be able to get an exact measurement. So instead, what we're gonna do is I took the average in centimeters of all the heights that we've gotten so far, there's 8 of them, totaled them together, divided it by 8, and I got that his average height amongst all these measurements is 173.1 centimeters tall, or 5 foot 8.1 inches.
So that's gonna be our final result, 5 foot 8.1 inches tall, which is not perfect, but it's way closer than 5'2". I also tried to measure how tall Zelda is, because there are some fake Zeldas hidden around the map that are actually disguised Yiga. But when I approached them, it turned out that neither of the two on the map are on flat terrain, so it's impossible to perfectly measure either of them. However, the guys on Reddit did figure out approximately what Zelda's height is, using hacks to summon her into the game and placing her next to the same block we used in Breath of the Wild. They found out that she was 5 feet 10.6 inches tall, or 179.37 centimeters. And although I know this is scuffed, for good measure I decided to go and test the heights of a couple other NPCs in the game too, so people could get some perspective on how tall all the various characters are. For example, Gerudo soldiers in heels are over 7 foot 8 inches tall. Purah is 6'2" while in heels. Sidon is 11 foot 8, and Impa is 4 foot 5. So those are a couple of the approximated heights of the NPCs in the game. As for MatPat's video, I have good news, which is that Link's new height actually helps his theory, and the conclusion that Link is the slenderest man in gaming. So in the future, if anyone tells you that Link is 5'2", please spread the word that this is not the case. And until I see you next time, have fun storming the castle.